So this is one of them sort of clickbaity ones, isn't it really? YouTube made me buy it / Instagram. I don't know if YouTube's ever made me buy anything. It's influenced me, and it's a helpful resource, like Fragmental, isn't it? And this is not a negative video. I really respect the people who I'll be mentioning here, obviously, and it was good to get another opinion on something I was interested in. But I certainly have my own mind, and I can be influenced, but that's about it. But yeah, I've just seen some stuff about, as we always do, influencers, that they provide a service. Okay, if you like. You know, I don't know. I don't think any of these people mentioned would think that they're a service. They enjoy what they're doing. Some of them get paid and what have you, and professional influencers. But that's fair enough. But as far as having much of an effect, I mean, it's all kind of subjective, isn't it? I don't think in the grand scheme of things in the perfume industry, actual fragrance influencers have any effect. A fractional, infinitesimal, effect, perhaps, if you like. Again, it's all subjective, isn't it? But as far as providing a service, okay. I think also it would be sad if we lost some of our favourite people, and it is sad when people go. But the perfume industry flourished for about 70 years to be one of the biggest industries on earth without the internet. So I think they cope fine as well. So yeah, that's just my tuppence worth regarding that weirdness. So yeah. What fragrances have I been influenced to buy? So first up, I suppose we may as well go where it all began. Yeah, whatever. Is Chris Fragmental. His was the first YouTube channel I ever kind of came across. On YouTube, obviously, it was. I've told the story many times, so I won't go into that. But anyway, I'm watching his perfume parlour videos, and the two first I got were Tom Ford's Noir de Noir and Kilian's Back to Black. Well, their version of. Anyway, clearly, that ignited the flame, didn't it? And I was hooked from then on. It was Back to Black, I suppose, at first. That kind of made me addicted, and I wanted to go and sniff millions. I thought, wow, can perfume be this good? The clone versions, actually, it's not that bad. It's not a million miles away. They are fairly good, and they're great for beginners, these sorts of things. And yes, so eventually, I suppose we could say Chris, indirectly, but sort of there, influenced me to get my first ever Kilian, proper bottle of, and that was Back to Black. Kilian's Back to Black, we know what it is: honey, tobacco separately, this kind of lovely cherry feel through it, like a boozy cherry brandy. There's a lot in this one, actually. There's a supposed gingerbread note. I don't really get that. I get more of a waxiness from say the honey and stuff. Magnificent fragrance, and yes, so thank you Fragmental for kind of igniting my fire with Kilian, and we all know how that ended, with a heck of a lot of Kilians. So yeah, that's Kilian's Back to Black, and I have no idea what the perfume parlour version was called, and they change name all the time. But yes, you influenced me there. They're not really in order, but these two are, along with Brooklyn Fragrance Lover, who the second person I subbed to was Steve. Frags to riches as he was back then. Every man fragrance now, I think. And Steve Steve, I don't want to call him the opposite to Chris, but Steve won't be mad at me for saying this. Steve is not your slick, inverted commas, influencer. He's very much who I think I've stayed like. He's just a bloke who loves fragrances and talking about them. There's no kind of ulterior motive there or anything like that. And anyway, the one, this was after he pushed me on Instagram for talking too much in his comments, I think. But it's Bvlgari Man in Black Orient, or Man Black Orient, I can never name that right. And what happened with that is we're both big fans of the original, obviously, but there were the two flankers. There was the was it just the Parfum it was called, which we swapped samples of each of them. It's kind of a chocolatey Man in Black, as I remember, and the Black Orient is kind of this oody. Oh, Black Orient's oody. It's deeper, darker, richer. It's a bit smokier. The florals are kind of much darker. The booze is still there, but it's not as kind of bright, happy-go-lucky as Man in Black kind of one. The spices are a bit darker. The leather's amped up, and that oud note gives it this kind of beautiful touch to it. It's very nice. But yeah, he obviously, then we swapped and stuff. But obviously, he influenced me to buy that, and it's actually, like Back to Black, I mean, this is where it gets interesting, isn't it? It's one of my favourite fragrances ever, so yeah, thanks for Steve for that. And I think that was more of a direct influence. Look at all the bluebells. And it's one I still love now, and this is from a long time ago. So that's Steve Fragstovich's Everyman Fragrances, Bvlgari's Black Orient. Next is one of my still favourite influencers, and she has become more of an influencer now, and well done to her. It's a career and stuff, and an actual proper fragrance expert in Fragcon. That's something, and that's Clémence CC Fragrances. I actually discovered Clémence through Chris Fragmental as well. I believe first video I ever saw was she was on one of them. Clémence has such a taste and such a passion. She used to do these videos that were just fantastic, you know, all the elements, the history, you could actually smell them through the screen. And Clémence is kind of the special influencer, if you like, to me, because she was one of them first that really helped me over on Instagram and was always lovely. And I'd still consider her a friend. We don't talk much now, but she's a top lass. And what she influenced me with was Honey Oud from Floris, or Honey Oud, as Clémence would call it. This is, well, we all know this one. It's kind of silky, smooth, delectable honey with this rose sweetness coming through it, and this kind of tiny hint of a kind of, we call it Western oud, don't we? But it's just a woody, smooth, clean, elegant oud note. So yeah, that's Honey Oud from Floris, and that was influenced by Clémence. Next is a very recent one, and one of the best interviewers in the game is Raoul, Eternal Scent Journey. And he's such a lovely fella. I think we've both been about roughly the same amount of time, but obviously Raoul's a superstar now, and he has people on his channel, on his Instagram. I think he posts them on YouTube. I'll try and link these people, you know what I'm like. But he's a lovely guy, and one of the people he introduced me to was Mia Fusciuni. That's not his actual real name, is it? But we'll call him that for now. And his brand released a fragrance called Viole Nere, and just to hear him speak about it with such passion and such love and such poetry, and to be fair, he described it just perfectly. This is I have been looking for a sample set. They're not easy to get hold of in the UK. But yeah, Stan people there got interrupted. Yeah, I think I was just saying how poetic he was about it, and obviously all of his fragrances sound wonderful, so I'll get there. But anyway, Viole Nere is kind of this, it starts quite melancholic, this kind of sad, wintry violet coming through the dry, frosty earth. And as it grows and develops, it gets sweeter, and there's not just them notes in it, but they're kind of the main thing. Ooh, look at that fungus. And so it kind of gets darker and warmer. Darker in the sense that the violet flower, you know, with that bit of sweetness. It's never too sweet. It's not a big powdery violet bomb. And there's a nice touch of greenness in there, and it becomes spring. It's one of the best, most creative violet fragrances I've ever smelt, and I've smelt a lot of violet fragrances. It's fantastic. So that's Rahul, Eternal Scent Journey, and Mio Fusciuni's Viole Nere. Next we're back to another YouTuber. That's Tara, who was a Factor Files, I think. Not sure Tara still makes content. We do hear about her a bit. I think she's getting married, which is excellent news. Tara was always a very lovely lass, very intelligent, and very good at what she did, and kind of again danced on that pinhead between influencer but with integrity and honesty, and always declared stuff and that, and also spoke quite passionately about things. Anyway, from her, I don't know if we want to connect this to Tara, but Angel Share. Obviously I wanted a bottle anyway, but my mind was made up by Tara. I think Tara had gone through nearly a bottle in about a month. In the month it took me to get the bottle, because it was always out of stock, wasn't it? We know Angel Share. It's even more hyped now than when it came out. I think it does deserve it to a point. It's not the greatest fragrance ever. It's also not the most unique kind of DNA and that, but it's what Kilian are good at, and my god they milk it. But it's brandy, isn't it? It's Angel Share, clues in the name there. So it's this kind of boozy, woody, brandy barrel kind of fragrance with class and spices, and it's just lovely. It is good. All these copies of it, I've not sniffed it. For me, if you want that sort of DNA and that sort of fragrance, get Angel Share. I mean, it will no doubt, it's Estee Lauder, it will no doubt be reformulated to death probably already, but it's a beautiful fragrance. So yeah, Tara Olfactor Files kind of influenced me to get Angel Share from Kilian. Now, one of my favourite people in the history of YouTube, and again a very early person for me, was Nigel. Nige, my 2 cents worth, Nige. The guy is one of the loveliest, most genuine, brilliant people ever, really, in the history of YouTube. And he's done so many, he's done some masterpiece videos. They're all gone now, sadly, but talking about his father's death, the feelings and stuff, all kind of wrapped up in these cinematic, brilliant things. Also, obviously wrapping the fragrances around them. Just some of the best videos on YouTube. No influencey kind of stuff from the heart, stuff from his passion. Also, the first live I ever appeared on was with Nigel. And as a very shy kind of person, I was very drunk, but he brought it out and it got really kind of deep, and we ended up talking about mental health and my own personal struggles for quite a while, and it was brilliant. Nigel did brilliant interviews with people, and me being one of them, you know, with some really big people, was quite special actually. And I appreciate that. But anyway, what he influenced me to buy, he'd always have these really out there, rare, bizarre hidden gems, and one of them was Eau de Gaga from Lady Gaga, obviously. And he's a big lime fan. This is a brilliant lime fragrance. It's lime, and it's kind of got a kind of generic ambery, woody kind of everything in it, but the lime in it is really fantastic, and it cost me £9. So yeah, for Eau de Gaga is from my 2 cents worth, Nigel, and hope you come back one day, mate. You're fantastic. Next is Smurfy girly Claire. Although she loves my Insolence more than Insolence, the one she's influenced me is Insolence. But anyway, Smurfy girly Claire was kind of the first time I kind of got welcomed into a community and stuff. I used to watch her lives and stuff, and all the people from the lives and premieres and stuff still talk to you now, and became great friends with most of them. And it just was like a little community of Smurfy fans, wasn't it, really? And I think a lot of us kind of were birthed from that and influenced by that. Obviously Claire's love of indie has kind of pushed me that way, maybe, although that's to come where that came from. But and obviously, like, probably my best friend in this weird world is Rosen Jones, who will be coming up later. And it just kind of, yeah, it was like a nice little to feel part of something, and it was great. But yes, so yeah, Insolence, it's one of the violet fragrances, isn't it? If you love powdery kind of Parma violety, slightly fruity ones, it is the fragrance for you. It's magnificent. It's well, we know it, don't we? Like I say, it's kind of red fruits and powdery, lovely, gorgeous violet and iris in there. It's kind of got that vintage kind of feel. It takes you back a bit. Magnificent fragrance. So that's Insolence, and that's from Smurfy girly Claire. Next is Thomas O'Brien, Ouch 110, who's just always been one of the easiest watchers, very passionate, and just again another very lovely guy. And I'm not talking about his fragrance in this, Fawn, but that's well worth checking out. What he influenced me with is when I was starting my Amouage phase, Thomas is probably the only person to have reviewed like the entire library collection. And I saw a bottle on eBay for quite a good price. I wouldn't say it was the cheapest thing I've ever bought, but they're all discontinued, aren't they? And we know I love my violet, so you know, I'd looked it up. I'd looked it up on Fragmental. I was like, because yeah. But I watched Thomas's review and I thought, I'm getting this, and I got it, blind bought it. One of my favourite fragrances ever. Again, another violet that's just done beyond spectacular. It's absolute, oh god, it smells so good here. I can smell honeysuckle. That's not honeysuckle, is this, what's it called? Elderflower maybe? No, it's definitely, well, that does smell. I can definitely smell honeysuckle somewhere. It's beautiful. Anyway, as I was saying, yeah, it's a magnificent, it's just a kind of beautiful violet Amouage style, but not overly Amouage. It's more resins, light kind of incensey feel in there with everything. It's one of my favourite fragrances ever again, and here we go. My god, I can smell it even stronger here. So yeah, that's from Amouage Opus 3, and that was influenced by Thomas O'Brien, Ouch 110. Next up is Scott the Centurion, who again was probably one of the first 5 people I ever subscribed to in the YouTube world. Still talk to Scott, he's a lovely fella, he's a great man, and does have some great taste. Now what Scott influenced me with was Daniel Josier. He hadn't actually tried this one, but he got me to sniff Daniel Josier fragrances, which I loved, and I ended up getting a bottle of Quetzaly, which I may have actually, full circle, may have influenced Scott to get, which is quite, it just shows how we all influence each other and become friends, doesn't it? But Quetzaly is this kind of weird one about ancient Mexico. My God, I can smell these now. Bluebells like literally everywhere. But yes, and there's some wild garlic. But anyway, Quetzaly is, well, the wild garlic's a kind of good example. It's kind of almost a savoury one, and it has like a fancy avocado note in it. And you definitely get that, and chilies and spices, and it's kind of dry and mysterious, and there's incense coming through it. And Daniel Josier is a top-notch, underrated perfumer. He had health problems a couple of years ago. I hope you're doing all right, Daniel. You won't be watching this, but yeah, Scott pushed me down that path, so I'm going to give Daniel Josier Quetzaly to Scott the Centurion. Again, do check out Scott, and he's got his own fragrance out called Legio X, and it's really worth sniffing. It's very nice indeed. This is not an advert, but yes, anyway, next. Now, we all know what one of my favourite ever brands is, and it's an indie brand, and this came from Marcus Ibrahim over on Instagram. Don't know if I don't think he's ever had a YouTube anything or other. He does make videos which are very funny, very informative. Not as active as he used to be, but he is a legend, and again, someone who's influenced me massively, and someone who I believe I've got a part of him. It sounds really creepy, that, doesn't it? But certainly his no nonsense and just passion and loving it, and not being afraid to say how he's feeling and stuff like that. A true legend. If you've been about as long as me, you know Marcus. But anyway, it was a one-way bridge, like I said, that he kind of influenced me to. And from that came one of my favourite fragrances ever. Date with a Dame, which is this kind of musky, almost clean sometimes, tuberose, with like a cherry feel and like some sweet resins, and you just have to smell it. But it's the musks where the real love of it is, and in there with it, this kind of almost soapy clean musks. There's a kind of naughty feel about it. You even sometimes think you get a bit of leather in there. It's just an absolutely magnificent fragrance. If you watch my videos, I've spoken about this a million times, so I don't need to. But yeah, from the great legend that is Marcus Ibrahim is Date with a Dame from One Way Bridge. So next is Dr. Claire's perfumes. Claire Smith, links will be somewhere or other. And I've left probably my two closest friends, well, three closest friends, to the end with this. And what Claire influenced me with is Guerlain's La Petite Robe Noir Black Perfecto. Sent me a sample of it. I probably had smelt it before, but not properly, and my God, this was a love. This, you know, your kind of dark leather jacket, kind of dark makeup, beautiful kind of powdery raspberry leather. Is it cherry? Maybe not raspberry. That kind of feel about it. It's just magnificent, and it's the added leather in this flanker that gives it this kind of dark, sultry, incredible feel. Just one of the best fragrances there is out there. Now I can smell lavender. There's a lot of smells down here, but yes, it's absolutely a magnificent fragrance, and again one of my favourites. And that takes me to some places, I think. But yeah, Claire, well, you know Claire, she does sciencey kind of videos. Claire's very open, honest, and to the point, and very objective and balanced, and that upsets sensitive people who get offended by that sometimes, maybe because they are doing the things that she's talking about it, and then they twist it and manipulate it a bit, but whatever. Anyway, she's a very successful video of late. She doesn't seem to have gone down well with everyone. I think it's great, but she tells also kind of stories, the history of flowers, the science, why we like things, why we kind of go for things, where things come from and stuff. She's just absolutely fantastic. Go check her musk video out. It's one of the best ever. I really want to cross this, but I can't, can I? So yeah, that's Dr. Claire Smith, and that's La Petite Robe Noir from Guerlain. So next we have Cul de Scent, Matt, who's probably my first Instagram friend, and still is a good friend now. And he's another northern chap, very much like me. Matt, I've actually seen Matt. He doesn't look like this, but he, you know, it could be another old geezer like me, flat cap, whippets. Hey up, how's I doing? He's from Lancashire, the wrong side of the Midlands. Is he from Lancashire or Cumbria? Well, he's from that side anyway. Yeah, he is from Lancashire. I'm trying to think. And he's a top fella. But he has a passion for anything. He loves any old fragrance and he'll try anything. But what he got me onto was Air and Terence Hughes. What a journey that was. There's nothing quite like his early fragrances. I don't really still try them anymore, but his first collection was unbelievably good. They kind of typified that indie. They were weird, rough in some ways, out there, sometimes very beautiful, and that sometimes very, very not for everyone kind of thing. And that's what got me absolutely hooked on niche and different things. And the one I'll give to Matt is Jasmine Amber Rose, which came back as filth and has long since disappeared. But that's kind of, well, clues in the name. There's them elements in it, and it's kind of got a dark leatheriness. The musks are kind of quite hypnotically powerful. It's a really unusual fragrance to describe, so I'm not gonna. And it's just fantastic. Dark, weird, sultry, sexy kind of, but with this dark feel about it. It's a fantastic fragrance, and that's from my old northern mate Matt, Cul de Scent. So yeah, and finally is Lizzie-Bette Rosen-Jones. Now we got chatting and kind of first met in the aforementioned Smurfy Girlies lives, and yeah, Lizzie-Bette is very posh, very southern. Again, someone very forthright, speaks her mind, is and quite brilliant and very bougie, you know, whereas I'm a down to earth, salt of the earth, poor northerner. It's like one of them cop shows, isn't it? In real life, you know, I could have been one of her staff, you know, got a good beating and a stepping on every night for not polishing the cutlery quite right. But yeah, Lizzie has a fantastic taste. Now Lizzie has influenced me with a lot. Now we swap a lot between us. Statistically, out of the lot we send to each other, it's maybe 1 in 100 that we actually love. But when we fall for them hard. It's the same. I mean, Lizzie's last one from me was Viole Nere. I've bought many from Lizzie because that I love them. I don't sell mine, that's why. But Noir de Noir is the one I'm going to talk about. She sent me a sample. Like I said, I did have that clone of it. Oh, I was just in love. It was it. And then I kept my eye out for, God, if I don't fall over, for a bottle. But then Lizzie was selling hers. Bought it. Was it the first one I bought from her? Maybe. A great price. And just a fragrance I think we all associate with me that I just absolutely adore. One of the best fragrances ever, isn't it, really? And that came from Lizzie. Now Lizzie's content is fantastic. She would tell you otherwise, but she has this ability to talk about a fragrance, not really about the notes, and that doesn't matter. She tells us what she smells and where it takes her, and it takes us to these places with her. And she's also quite often got a lot of newbies. She quite often buys a lot of hyped fragrances and really loves them, which is good. It shows that the hype is there. I don't always love them the same, but it's kind of great to have someone who's kind of so opposite with taste and stuff, because it means we try so many different things we wouldn't normally try. But anyway, for Tom Ford's Noir de Noir, I was influenced by Lizzie Rosen-Jones. So now we need to get back across this kind of crazy little thing. So this video is just some of the people who've influenced us, and it's not in the sense they are influencers, although technically speaking, I suppose if we've been influenced, then that is what they are. But these are people who I've always watched and respected, and I suppose that's what YouTube and Instagram content does. It doesn't make us buy something, because you'd be stupid if you did that. God, I didn't die there. But it gives us an idea of what they're like when these people talk about them and stuff. Nobody watching this is a new person, or particularly someone we'd need to worry about. But yeah, don't buy a fragrance because of what an influencer says about it. Go sample it. I know if most influencers don't do samples, which probably makes you think they don't exist, but they do. So yeah, enough moaning. So yeah, this video, I don't know what the point of it was. It's one of them clickbaity ones, isn't it, really? Just to make the point, I suppose we are a lovely community who all influence each other. What about yourself anyway? Have you ever been influenced to, well, not influenced, wrong word. Has someone's review or talking about a fragrance ever made you want to go check it out? Any of your favourite influencer or reviewer people there? I'd say these are all pretty much reviewers. There, any more great people that are out there? It's waffly, innit? Alright folks, thanks for watching this probably very long, unneeded video. Thanks, bye.